let's get into today's
Look how
video.
bad that is. It glitched out.
Most interesting.
Look at that.
Now,
No.
I'm gonna go through maps since I got about every single map, including.
I like that. So it's going through every
Vanguard
maps for
and
interesting. No way.
Exo Zombies, Infinite Warfare.
Vanguard interesting fact is that you don't need to play it. That's
Hey,
the
World War II.
interesting fact.
What I'm gonna be doing is going through the maps, you know, from Nacht and so forth, and just saying some interesting facts about the maps. And I try not to do like the obvious ones that most people know. Try to go for some that are like very unique.
Lads, one in the chat if you think you're gonna know every single one of these. Two in the chat if you
People
don't.
knew, and I didn't know a lot of these myself.
I don't know,
Now,
man.
let's get into Nacht.
I never
the
know
first
all
one,
these. Okay, what's
and
not?
That is the Ascend from Darkness writing on the wall. Now,
Right.
the special thing about this is that this is actually a quote from Viktor Reznov from the Black Ops 1 campaign, in which he says his step number 2 is the Ascend from Darkness, which also...
It's crazy how Reznov is always subtly mentioned in Zombies, but he's never actually ever been a part of it. I really thought with Cold War we would have gotten Reznov as part of the game. But they had every other freaking campaign character like Kravchenko, but not Reznov? Isn't that the weirdest
second
thing?
step in Origins Easter egg. Now, the next thing I would like to mention about Nacht is that the truck outside of the spawn can actually explode. This is only done on
interesting.
Nacht, not
I
BO1 or
forgot about
BO3.
that. Yeah,
And
it doesn't work
another
on BL3.
interesting
And
fact
probably
about
not BL1.
is that it was initially supposed to be a survival defense game mode, the whole zombies game mode. That's why there's all the red barrels outside and stuff. You were supposed to hold down and see how long you survive.
Oh,
until
I
ultimately
see.
they, you know, transformed it into what it is today.
Yeah, that's
One
interesting.
extra little fact is that I
He was
didn't
in
realize this,
Firebase?
but Nacht
Was Reznov ever in Cold War? I don't think so. Yeah, Kravchenko was in Firebase.
was
though.
released
Yeah.
November 11th, 2008. That is on the day before my second birthday.
Hey, let's
So
go.
I thought that was pretty cool. That
Dang.
started right
My man was 2 when Nacht and Toten came out. How old were you guys when Nacht came out in 2008? How old are you? I was 10.
before my second
So-
birthday. And the last thing I would like to add
It's 10
is
years
that
old.
Nacht
Hit the
was
double
remade
digits
a
for the first
total
time.
of, I think 6 or 7 times.
Nacht has been
That
made
were originally
remade too many
that
times.
Remade on BO1,
World of One,
showed up
BO1,
on Transit and BO2,
Transit.
was in BO3,
BO3
Chronicles and BO3 Revelations.
Yep, BO3 Rev.
Does not show up in BO4, surprisingly.
I mean, a lot of things don't.
Is on Cold War
Juggernaut, we're looking at you. Yeah, D
with
Machine.
D Machine and the
That is insane.
Forsaken minigame.
Nocturne Tone
Yeah,
needs
it's
to
on a
stop
lot of
being
maps.
remade. Yeah.
And I personally think,
And it's on
Nacht
mobile
needs to
too,
take a
so
little
that's
break,
7.
And we need some of the other World at War maps to get remastered. Like
No,
My-
no more World at War remasters. I tweeted this. No more. I'm sick and tired of it. No more Riese, no more Shi No Numa, no more Verruckt. If anything, remaster the BO1 maps. Please, just no more World at War.
favorite map of all time is Verruckt.
Okay.
And that is
Verruckt, I
barely
would
been remastered.
I would
as
give.
many times. It was only
That's
on World
true.
at War BO1,
And BO3.
BO3, along with the Revelations,
and
and
Rev.
then
Yeah.
Blackout if you count that.
I guess.
And I
Yeah.
would very much like to see Verruckt as a sort of how they did Shi No Numa on Vanguard.
I wouldn't mind
Now,
Verruckt.
speaking
That's
of
the
Verruckt,
only
we
one
go
I'd be
into
alright
Verruckt
with.
right now, with the first thing being the power switch. Now a lot of people notice, but the power switch on Verruckt is actually like an arm. This is
Yeah.
the OG Verruckt. And the history is that
Whose arm is it? I
Peter
forgot.
McCain, the
Oh, it's Peter
American
McCain's.
spy that was there right before
Yeah,
he got,
yeah.
right before he got captured, actually, the zombie outbreak happened on Verruckt, and he turned off the power, but whilst doing so, his arm was ripped off in the process. And we see that on
I would
many more
absolutely
maps,
suck.
including Shi No Numa, where we see him hanging and he's missing.
I don't understand Peter McCain in the storyline. Does anybody understand him? Like, how does he end up in Gorod Krovi? I don't get it. I don't know. And then he's like, all of his hands are on all the power switch. I don't understand it. He's in Gorod. The intro cutscene where they're falling out of the sky. The guy they grab to pull the parachute is Peter McCain. And like now he's saying he doesn't even have an arms. I don't get it, man.
His
I don't
arm.
know.
That's because his arm is the power switch.
Like, why Peter McKay?
Another thing I'd like to add is the sides. Now, the first thing you notice about Verruckt is that you're split onto two different sides, the left and right. And these sides symbolize the good and evil aspects of zombies. Like,
Interesting.
on the left side, you have a mannequin, which has many like knives stabbed into it. And on the right side, there's a hanging mannequin. You can take this as whatever, being good and bad. Richtofen versus Maxis.
Premise Peter McCain. Don't you dare say that,
that's
bro.
the specific like meaning of it. Last thing I'd like to add for Verruckt, and this is a interesting fact that I really like, and I think more people should know. I think a lot more people know about it right now, is that Verruckt, in fact, has the first ever zombies crew. And you might be asking, well, I thought Ultimus was the first crew, and I thought it was just Marines on Verruckt.
Yeah, the first actual official zombies player ever is Dempsey. I think that's so cool. Like, Dempsey, and it's sick as well, because on the map that you're watching, the Eisendrache, who's the first 1.0 character you take out? It's Dempsey. Like, because he started all... the storyline there is perfect.
No.
I love that.
Marines were only on Nacht. Verruckt actually had characters. Now, the first set of characters was John Banana, Paxton
Rest in peace, John Banana. I know Milo loved that guy.
Ridge, Smokey.
Smokey!
Yes, Ultimus Tank Dempsey.
No, rip my boy Smokey.
All the rest of the Ultimus characters. Basically, like I said before, Peter McCain was a spy at the Verruckt.
Chat, Richtofen was not involved into the story until Shi No Numa. It was Tank Dempsey first. Richtofen, Takio, Nikolai, they're in Shi No Numa.
Facility. Right? And the handler, Cornelius Purnell, who becomes Avogadro later on, sent Dempsey's team, that being him, Paxton, John Banana, and Smokey, to go rescue Peter McCain because they believed he was going to be discovered. And that is what would happen, but thankfully for Peter, zombie outbreak took place on Verruckt and he was able to escape in a plane. But Dempsey's group did not know that, so as soon as they got to Verruckt, they got separated by the powers cutting off.
Oh, that's why. Oh, that makes sense. So it is kind of like a good and evil side.
And
okay, that makes sense.
From Samantha.
Right,
Dempsey and Paxton were on the Juggernaut side, and Smokey and Banana were on the right side with Quick Revive.
No, Smokey and Banana got bullied on Quick Revive side, bro.
No, Dempsey and Paxton were actually doing very good, while Smokey and Banana went for fucking hell. You look at voice clips and...
That's what happens when you spawn on QR side. You just get bullied. Very true.
Well, not voice clips, but you can find all sorts of radios and shit about him. Like, Revelations is a really good one about Banana.
John Banana!
Made at, like, tubes in the Verruckt area of Rev. But basically what happened was they were getting cornered in a sticky situation, used the monkey bomb, which weirdly enough wasn't on this map.
Yeah, that's interesting. The monkey bomb was first introduced into the Riese, so...
Was able to escape, but Smokey got bit and turned into a zombie.
No.
Attacked John Banana, who decapitated Smokey, and went into the back room and threw over a table and hid back there. Now, that back room is in the back of the Quick Revive and Spawn, and where you buy that door and go in there in that camping area. And you can look through.
Oh, it's
now, that's what's called
it's where the
John Banana
room
is. And basically, that's where you hid out, and there's a bunch of bloody little papers, and he wrote rhymes. Now, this is actually a real Marine.
The Quick Revive side also had Springfield. Yeah, that's true.
No
wonder they died.
Rhyme schemes to keep themselves sane, and he was trying to write that the mission went south, and Smokey died. But then, while saying this, the resurrected Smokey head killed him.
It's interesting because I didn't know a lot about this, man.
Their two teammates dead and fought the rest of the night. Paxton was able to escape due to Dempsey holding off the zombies. And Dempsey fought there for a couple of days until he was discovered by Group 935 members who took him in to be Richtofen's third test subject. And that is
Actually, it was supposed to be his fifth because you hear about Pablo in Call of the Dead later on. But, man... I wish there would have been one map we got to play as Pablo, especially in TOG.
One of the most depressing stories of Call of Duty Zombies history to me, and why it's my favorite map of all time, because we don't really see too much of like a realistic point of view. We see
that is true.
All this time travel and
that's true. You don't see a lot of
Lovecraft beings.
Then a Shadow Man came. Yeah, I know, right?
Real people.
Yeah, Verruckt is a very real story.
They went through.
Yeah, it's true.
Enough being said, let's go into Shi No Numa.
Shi No Numa.
Some very interesting ones, in fact. The first one being that you can actually tell what perk you're going to get in the shed by what the first one is when you open it. Say you open it and it's Jug, that's going to be Jug. And this
you can tell also by like the electrical sparking outlets. I've seen a tip video about that. I think on like VS Lawn's channel. So
it's from
it's interesting
someone on
how
Reddit
that is.
Who sent me a lot of them. I'm showing them right now. Thank you for that.
Sheesh.
Also,
the Redditors. Actually, the Redditors are here.
Shi No Numa, surprisingly. Now we're on Riese, and Riese.
That's it for Shi No Numa. Woo! That's why they brought it back to Vanguard, boys.
One near double tap, I guess, or like the fenced area leading to.
Yeah, there's a dead body there. Yeah, the hangman, Dr. Porter.
That was originally going to be where the scrapped perk Ammo-matic was going to be at.
Oh,
Ammo-matic,
interesting.
if you don't know, was going to be a perk that basically resupplies you ammo, like a free max ammo.
Which is every other room in Cold War Zombies, by the way.
It's kind of reworked into the ammo boxes in Cold War.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never knew that's where it was actually going to be placed on the map. Along with, if you look up into the moon on Riese, and this is a real thing, you can kind of make out the Griffin Station. I think that's what
we are going to be adding this on Die Rise Remastered. People asked us because they said make sure you can see Griffin Station on the moon. We will be doing so.
It was called like the area that you
5
are
dots
at on moon, and it's pretty insane that they had that planned out from
the level of details was insane.
Now, not only that, but you can also find pictures in Teleporter C near that of foreshadowing maps that come. Like you can see a lighthouse from Call of the Dead.
They had so many ideas
you
right
can see
from
the Kino
beginning.
Theater and then a Paris map. Now,
Paris
Kino
turned into
and
moon.
Paris were supposed to actually both be on World at War, but due to Modern Warfare coming out, they had to get pushed back into BO1, and Kino was the starter map, and Paris was supposed to be the last map.
Yeah.
Now, we'll get on to what happened with that Paris map later once we get to the...
It shows like how they have ideas and they stretch them out all the time. I mean, you even see it with Blundel's BO4 idea. He's like, we could have put the Great War as Revelations, but we decided to put it in BO4, and then it just never came out. What a sad...
Moon entry.
Sad tragedy.
But, now we gotta go on to Kino. Kino, along with a lot of other zombie maps, are real-life places. But Kino was one of the most interesting to me since it's one of the most popular maps. It's actually inspired
the best zombies
by
map of all time.
Chicago theater. I'm showing images right now of what it looks like in real life. And it is very, very identical to the actual Kino.
I saw a video of these people going into that theater. One in the chat, if you remember seeing that video. That was a wild video. They definitely broke and entered into there, but like, it's crazy.
In Kino, if you go upstairs to the right, there's a bunch of portraits of our Ultimates crew, along with one blacked out one that many people have speculated what it is.
Is the Great War map still going to happen?
I
hope so.
Kino, but on the BO3 remake, if you go
Depends on COD 2024.
where the fire trap is, or up to the left, up above, like you can't get to it, but you can see it in spectating, and I think you might be able to see it normally. There is a bunch of these blacked out photos. I don't know what's up with that. That's something I would like to add. Also in Kino,
I think they did that because of like the whole BO1 campaign. Like everything was classified, like the numbers Mason, like it just fit that whole aesthetic vibe.
This is only on BO3 version. If you go out to back where I think double tap or stamina is in the alley, you can see a Morgue City bus. Morgue City is obviously where Shadows of Evil takes place. I thought that was very interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Now we go on to 5, which actually have the first celebrity cast. Celebrity cast in zombies are like a random treat that happens usually every game, in which a bunch of celebrities are the main group. We've had this one, the Call of the Dead one with actors. We've had, I'm not sure if you count Mob of the Dead.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Mob of the Dead, Dead of the Night, like, just incredible maps instead of Dead of the Night. Dead of the Night's the only celebrity cast I despise, and Shadows too.
You have Dead of the Night, all sorts. There's celeb casts usually get hated on, but 5 is one of the most favorite ones out of all of them.
Yeah.
Also in 5,
I mean, how do they even do 5? Like, how did they find someone to voice JFK? I don't think they would be able to do that in 2023.
there was a
they would not be able to
in the
do
Pack
that.
Punch room on a chair, which shows Ascension and foreshadowing next map, which was Ascension.
Yeah.
One last thing I would like to add.
I missed
before
the
we
foreshadows,
leave
man.
5 is there was an alternate universe, since zombies is in fact a big multiverse. But there's radios about an alternate place that took place on 5 and alternate events that occurred.
Really?
No.
Like an alternate
In the main
timeline?
story, what happened on 5 is that the main group survived.
I mean, I guess that's classified, right?
But in this alternate universe, JFK,
Oh, maybe
Ronald
not.
Nixon, or Richard Nixon, and Fidel Castro were all eaten by zombies.
Oh.
While Secretary went into closet and hid out. And
Oh, yeah, and he's
accepted
talking.
overcoming death.
That was the Revelations radio. I remember that. Yeah.
That's pretty fucked up. I forgot where we learned of this from. I think it was on BO3, maybe BO4.
Yeah, no, it was BO3
Anyway,
Rev.
that's enough of 5. We're
Yeah.
going to Ascension, in which there is in fact a 4th and 5th extra lunar landers, but they're not usable. Now there's one all the way in the back near where Stamina.
I mean, they do that in Origins, right? The 4th robot, which was going to be Loki, the 4th robot. I love that type of lore.
was just sitting there. But the 5th one, as soon as you go up to get power, it's right above you. It's pretty fucking destroyed. It's crashed and everything.
Yeah, unusable.
But
I even heard a theory that lunar lander came from 5. So it's an interesting theory because it comes from the Pentagon, which I guess makes sense because when you play Classified, you're in the Area 51 area, right? So it all ties in.
other than that,
it's cool,
there's
like
actually
how
a
that
small
is.
little Easter egg. I think most of you might know the Matryoshka dolls that are on the map. Matryoshka dolls are like a very Russian toy, but
Yes,
in
sir.
Call of Duty Zombies, they're used as a grenade. And our Ultimates crew has their own versions of Matryoshka dolls that are all over the map. Near PhD.
I wish we got a Primus version, considering that Tog came back, but the Matryoshka dolls weren't a thing in that map, right? I wish we would have gotten a little tie-in like
Takio
that.
one?
That would have been cool.
Downstairs, right before you go up to power, is Richthofen one, where Speed Coal is a Nikolai one, and over by a fire barrel near the, I think, 3rd.
Do you have the jug
lunar
fridge?
lander
I
is the
do.
Dempsey
Yeah,
one.
it's just I
Now you
put it in
interact
another
with them,
room.
they have little funny voice lines. It's pretty cool. Another thing I would like to add is it takes place at the same exact time as 5. These maps are both very connected.
Yeah,
The
5 and
last thing I would like to add is
happened
while I
at
was
the same
making
time.
the background footage, I saw a very odd thing. I'm not sure if this is on OG Ascension, but there was an arm stuck to the sewer grate. I didn't know what it meant. It didn't look
It's Peter McCain.
like a character's arm, but yeah, maybe that's a reference to it. I don't even know.
Peter McCain just gets bullied on every single BO1 Zombies map in World at War. That's literally what it is. Who's the shadow painting in Kino? I think there's 2 different answers. Blundell made it Primus Nikolai, and I think Jimmy Zielinski made it the Gersh from Ascension. Because everybody's like, who's that dude in the Ascension poster? And Kino was the map before Ascension. And so I think that portrait of the unnamed man was actually Gersh in Ascension. That's what I believe.
Now
at
we
least.
go on to Call of the Dead, which was the first map with 2.
It was confirmed, yeah, but you have to realize, Blundell retconned what Jimmy Zielinski did. So that portrait, in my opinion, has 2 different answers, right? And then Blundell just made it Primus Nikolai. Because Primus was not Zielinski's ideas at all. Zielinski wanted to keep the whole story linear. But then as soon as he started adding in multiple endings and stuff, that's when it got complicated, and that's when Blundell added the timeline, right? So it's all, you always have to remember that.
2 different wonder weapons. We've gotten wonder weapons before, but this map had 2 different ones, which was pretty cool and kind of set up what we got with staffs later on. It also had a very technical error that bugs me every time I watch the intro. Michael Rooker has 2 double barrel shotguns, and he fires off 3 shots
bullets
with
in one of
shotgun,
them.
which
Yeah.
Yeah, every time I see that kind of
My boy got stock options.
now we go into Shangri-La. Shangri-La gets hidden on a lot. Well, like, gets nitpicked a lot because it has no traps, when it actually has secret traps. Now, we know about the spikes that penetrate us every time we fucking walk over.
Love
But
those
there's also a
spikes.
secret trap down by the waterfall. It's a brick. You interact with it. It has all the water.
Fun fact, so I actually talked to people at Treyarch, and there used to be a guy named Peter who actually worked on Shangri-La. Did you guys know that the waterfall area was supposed to be fully underwater? Shangri-La was supposed to be the first zombies map where you could swim underwater, but then that later went to Zetsubou, right? And I think if this whole area was underwater, it would have been really cool, because I think the brick would have had the opposite effect of draining the water in the area,
Or pushing down.
which is really
It's not
cool.
entirely useful, but it's pretty cool. You can also infinitely do the Easter egg on the map and get perkaholics for all your team. Now, this also ties into the lore because Shangri-La is kind of trapped in a
Time loop.
like time zone in which
Yep.
time keeps going over and over again.
And they were going to add different baby gun variants. It's insane because, like, Shang was supposed to be an insane map. I would love to see Shang with different baby gun variants. I would love for a map to do that. I mean, maybe I might do that for another map. Maybe Atlantis. That would be... Ooh, that's a good idea.
the two travelers that are trapped
That's a
in
good
it
idea.
keep dying and dying and dying over and over again. Pretty sad, but most of the zombies timeline is. Another cool little detail I'd like to add is that the locals, when Ultimus Richtofen first discovered Shangri-La, the locals worshipped him and believed he was a god, and that's what led him to manipulating them into mining.
A lot of people also think that, like, the Apothicans were in Shangri-La. And I just, again, like I said just before, you have to script that out between the way that Blundell made the story and the way that Zelensky made the story, right? And so I really wonder what Jimmy Zelensky's idea for that was, because I think he probably would have later on explained what happened in Shangri-La, and even with his other maps, like what happened in Die Rise with the flesh and whatnot. There's all these little secrets that will never get solved, and that's why I think, like, custom mappers should really, like, push in on that type of stuff, because that's so cool.
I think
Shangri
last one
Mastered
I'd like to
Reimagined.
add-
Yeah,
well,
legit.
we have two last ones for
legit.
Shangri-La. One of them is the fact that this adds on to the supporting Shangri-La's on Mars theory. Once you finish the Easter egg at the end, there is two skulls near the focusing stone. One on the right looks like a Neanderthal, but the left one, a lot of people have said it's an alien.
I actually think Jimmy Zelensky was going to go more of, like, the Crystal Skull Indiana Jones route and add more aliens into the story rather than, like, extraterrestrial octopus apothecant beings like Blundell did. Man, I really would have wished to see what Zelensky's version of Black Ops 3 would have looked like. I really do. Because, yeah, I mean, yes, I did see the stream with Blundell and JC, but, like, it just would have been so fascinating to live through that other timeline and see what that
Alien
zombies
school.
ended up being.
Obviously, aliens, Mars, go hand in hand. I don't want to bring up Shangri-La's on Mars anymore. And the last thing I'd like to add is very, very interesting that there is unused teleporters for this map. I'm not sure if teleporters were
Really?
originally be planned to be on it, but yeah.
Where
that's
are
something
they,
I figured
though?
out. Last thing we have is Moon.
Huh,
Moon,
I don't know where they would
like
be, though.
other maps, is actually in real life. It's the Biodome in particular.
Yeah, the Biodome was made in Germany, I believe.
There's also another little tip you can do to check the perk
Zelensky would have added
before
elemental
on the moon
denizens.
to see if its chuggers speed forward.
Legit.
It's very complex, unlike the Shi No Numa one, but apparently it's like the last perk that drops in. I don't know, it's very confusing. The next thing I'd like to add is that, like I said earlier with Paris, this map was originally going to be Paris, in which, like, a lot of details came out that, like, the Area 51 that we get.
Fun fact, there's a Paris map that I played on my main channel called Parish for BO1. It's one of the first custom maps ever that released for BO1. It was an amazing zombies map. And honestly, I kind of wish that Moon was Paris. I don't know, like, I'm glad Moon exists, but Moon on BO1 is one of the worst looking maps ever. How do you play BO1 Customs? You have to download a different version of Black Ops. Like, you get the Steam version, and then you get a modded version that you launch in the folder of Black Ops 1 that lets you play with mods. But BO1 does have customs. It doesn't have a lot of maps, but it does have customs.
What Pack Punch was going to be under the Eiffel Tower. There was a bunch of stuff going into it.
Which is all the stuff that he's talking about for Paris. That's literally how this BO1 custom map Parish plays. Paris, you know.
Very cool. It got a custom map made called Parish.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Sadly, this got cut, and we got Moon instead. Even though I do think Moon was better,
I think Moon was better on BO3. On BO1, a Paris map I think would have been way more iconic. I don't know. It would have also set the trend for all the towers that we see in BO2, right? People would have been way more connected on that. There's no towers in Moon, though, you know?
Like,
I think they could have done something really better
zombies
with that.
I do somewhat wish we got the Paris map.
I agree.
Now going on to BO2 of Transit. Now Transit has a lot because this map has a lot. First things first, the Avogadro, the mini boss on the map, which particularly can only be killed with EMPs and melee, can actually be killed with the ray gun.
What? Really?
And also, I'm not sure if this one's entirely true, but it seems...
Is that cap? I feel like that's wrong. There's no way that's true. He can't be taken out by any gun. At least that's what I thought. Honestly, it would make more sense if the jet gun could take him out. Not the ray gun, though. That's very strange.
Seems like a glitch. If you crouch on like specific cushions on the bus, it makes Ted actually go quicker, like speeds up his process. Not sure if that's true or not, but...
I doubt it. That just sounds like some conspiracy theories. But, I mean, listen, there were supposed to be cut content. So we're 1-to-1 remastering Transit after Die Rise, right? There was going to be areas where you would have to refill the bus with gas and all that. And so, I'm going to be honest, I think it would just be better to make the bus faster. I think the bus is honestly a lot kind of slow in a lot of regards. It just stops too much. So, I mean, if you had to refill the bus with fuel, that would have been horrible. Because they were thinking of putting, like, hellhounds in the map with that. Oh, that would have been dumb.
Wanted to add it in.
Imagine you sucked the Avogadro in the jet gun and it upgraded the jet gun. Oh, my gosh. I'm a legend.
Along with a mini Easter egg that not many people know about, as soon as you spawn in at the bus stop, go to the back window, look out, and there is a shack in the back, a little shed.
Why remake Transit when we're getting the reimagined? Solely for speedrunners. We just want speedrunners to be able to play the same map on BO3. Pretty much it. And just have it look better.
Shed from Shrek. Not sure what Shrek dev added that in. Another thing is a cut thing that would have added in with infamous Bus Ruby. And that is the fact that there was going to be a day and night cycle, like I've mentioned beforehand. But the Big Bang,
which is impossible on the BO2 system and even the BO3 system and any of the zombie systems, which is why I don't know how they would have ended up doing that. I wish they did, though, and honestly, I think that's something we're going to add into the 1-to-1 Transit remaster, is a way that you could change it to daytime, and then guess what? All the fog goes away.
In theory,
that would be sick.
In the game. If
that
you
would be
didn't
so
have
cool.
That achievement, Transit would usually just be in the day cycle. But once you unlock the achievement, you unlock night, and the night gives you the fog, the lava, denizens, and it basically...
I feel like it should be the other way around. You start in the night, and then you unlock the day, which gives you all of, like, gets rid of the denizens, gets rid of the fog, like, that would be cool. It's kind of like Shangri-La's Easter egg, right? Where it starts in the day, but you transform it into the nighttime, which I think is just cool.
It turns into a whole new map. Now, the cabin, there's a hunting cabin with the Bowie knife far off in the fog. Many people speculate what happened to the hunter residents, but the Gaming Revolution and a lot of other people have decided that denizens actually may have killed the hunters in the cabin. I just wanted to add that in a little bit.
Imagine dying to a denizen. Couldn't be me.
Another thing I would like to add is something that BO2 has in particular that not many other Call of Duties do, and that is the Super Easter egg. Super Easter egg goes from only Transit to Buried, however, in which
Transit Die Rise and Buried.
You can either pick two sides, Maxis and Richtofen side, and both of them you continue on and do in Transit, Die, Rise, and Buried, and they have 2 ultimate outcomes. The Max's ending outcome in Buried has Maxif destroy the Earth and send Richtofen's soul into a zombie, which is the canon version.
Yeah, it is the canon version.
Richtofen's, however, kills Maxis and possesses Stuhlinger, and you do sort of how you end in Mob of the Dead, in which one player fights off the other for you. Possessed Stuhlinger fights off Misty, Russman, and Marlton.
I remember completing the Super Easter egg for the first time in BO2 and being so confused as to what was going on. I still don't even really understand how the BO2 story connects with BO3, because they had to explain a lot of that in the comics, and like, it's so convoluted. It's such a mess.
Now, next thing I would like to add is the Jet Gun, and Jet Gun is infamous for being both bad and very good. On paper, it's very good, but
true,
in gameplay, it's very bad. But it has a hidden feature that can actually pull power-ups to itself.
Yep. And you can fly with it.
That, and the Claymores can blow up the bank vault, which is pretty interesting. Cool. And EMPs, the grenade that was added to this map, can actually destroy monkey bombs and Claymores, which is pretty cool.
I mean, why would you do that, though?
Not sure why you would need it, but it's pretty cool.
Why would they code that in, you know?
Nuketown zombies. The characters you play as on the map are CIA agents and CDC members. These are both reused assets from the Black Ops 1 campaign. And the clock in the background of the map counts down throughout the map, and it changes. It's counting down the changing of the drop in the back of the shed. Now, if you don't know, there's a shed with a free power back there.
I did not actually know that. I was wondering why it counts down. I mean, I never play BO2 Nuketown,
You
so
can buy through.
It is what it is.
It changes every time this clock goes around, which I thought is a pretty interesting detail. Die Rise. Now, Die Rise.
Let's go
for a lot of fans.
For being caca.
Not a lot of good fans, but
yeah, for being straight garbage.
Quite many bad fans.
Mainly bad things.
Now, first things first, there is like meteors. You can see meteors from the blown up planet like flying around in the sky. It is a
we will be adding that in Die Rise Remastered. I think the best part about BO2 is Die Rise's skybox. Oh my gosh, that is the best skybox in all of BO2.
Very beautiful skybox. Say what you want about the map, but you can't deny that.
No, the skybox.
Another thing about Die Rise is it has a like somewhat significance to it. Since it takes place in I forgot where, but somewhere in Asia.
It takes place in China. They never actually disclose the official area because it's just the concept of a map, but it does take place in the heart of probably like Hong Kong, pretty much.
In which there's a real life tower, and it's in the background of the map. I'm not sure of the name of the tower, but if you
they don't ever give it a name. They don't ever give it a name.
Last thing I would like to say about Die Rise.
Yeah.
Is that you can, in fact, call the elevators. This is a hidden feature. There's buttons around the map that you can pick up. They're like shiny. And you go up to an elevator, place the button in, and it calls that elevator down.
Yeah, and I mean, we're making the keys permanent on Die Rise Remastered. It's the way it should have been. Like, the keys to me on Die Rise is what should have been, like, what the shovels are in Origins, pretty much. It's the same concept.
Actually, I have a real quick one to add in. If the player is playing as Stuhlinger and the zombies go near it, you can actually hear the zombies talking and like crying out for help, and this is a very creepy one.
Yeah, it's the 115 delusions from when you eat zombie flesh. It's almost like, I don't know, man, maybe you could like use that and make it like a spider bait feature. I don't know. We'll see, man.
If you didn't know this fact and you're just playing Die Rise as Stuhlinger, that would be very creepy and probably ruin the map for you.
Yeah, man.
Next, we got Buried. And Buried, this fact about Buried is what made me want to make this video. That is that a developer came out in an interview recently saying that Buried was originally supposed to be a New York City subway tunnels map instead of the underground Wild West town that we got.
I honestly would not have liked that, because to me this just seems like Mauert or Toten, and like Mauert or Toten is cool, but like the main gimmick is just like the trains underground. I don't think it's as cool, you know. I think Buried would have been way better. Yeah,
would have been better. I'm not so sure. But I would have really liked to see that idea. That idea sounds very interesting. We rarely get like.
I mean, you kind of saw it with Mauer, right?
Apocalyptic Earths. Barry did
and
take
Shaolin too. Yeah, Shaolin, you saw it too.
Liked about it.
Yeah, Shaolin's more realistic than Mauer for that idea.
New York City hobo. I don't know. Also,
you'd probably be fighting a Rat King just like how Shaolin was. Shaolin is not a fun map. There's not really like the gimmick of a subway is not really that cool. It sounds cool, but it's not really that cool.
Is a very interesting sort of argument that people have. It's kind of true though when you look at it gameplay wise, that the Paralyzer, one of the new wonder weapons on the map, is sort of a rebrand of the jet gun. Now, what I mean by this is that they both operate very similar.
Yep.
But the jet gun, however, is the worser.
Part of me thinks that the Paralyzer would have been what the jet gun upgraded was, because when you look at the animation that the jet gun had in Transit, it looked like the Mad Wonder Weapon and radioactive thing where you attach certain parts on it. And I mean, like, with the Paralyzer, it almost looks like if you took the jet gun and, like, stripped it off, right? It's so interesting how they decided that, but then they just put it as a whole other thing and buried.
Version,
you know?
And Treyarch, seeing that a lot of fans did not like it,
sort of redid it
and made it better.
One of the worst wonder weapons ever. Probably the worst.
Another thing I would like to add in is that there is a very, very secret that I'm surprised was actually involved in BO2, and that is Monty's scarf. Now, Monty is one of the overarching main characters in BO3.
I wonder, so Blundell worked on like these maps as well. I wonder if he put these in as just like a last ditch effort for his storyline. I sometimes wonder that, or was it just like a misplaced texture that people thought was very out of place, you know? You always got to think about those things. You never really know.
He's kind of a villain, but basically Monty has this red scarf on him all the time, and it's actually been teased since, as far as I know, BO2, but it may have been further. Now you can. Yeah,
it started and buried, but to be honest, I just think that this was the thing that Blundell put at the end.
You can see this scarf on Buried right here, Origins, possibly other maps too. I know it's on some BO3 maps. It's very interesting that they planned it out that far. Last thing I'd like to add in about Buried is that when you go into the ghost house in the back and you get attacked by the ghost, the amount of ghosts that are actually in the building attacking you are based off how many players are in that map or in the building. That's pretty.
Yeah, so usually you can only ever have 2 at a time. And then it's just like how the dogs used to work. It's only 2 per player, but if you have 4 players, then like 8 can spawn in, and that's when it gets like super hectic.
Interesting one that I wasn't sure about.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
Mob has pretty deep ones. First of all, Mob is the only map, not including Nacht, because that didn't have any perks, but Mob is the only map that didn't have quick revive. Like I said, not including Nacht, because that map didn't even have a perks.
Even BO4 had quick revive when you think about it. That's so wild.
Mob's story behind it is that it's pretty crazy. Now, there was 4 prisoners that dig through their walls with the spoon and were able to sneak out onto the docks.
And then they added in Blood of the Dead.
Take a boat and escape Alcatraz prison, which is where Mob takes place at. Now, we don't know what happened to these prisoners. They most likely drowned. But that is the inspiration behind the 4 prisoners that we know trying to escape Mob of the Dead, and the spoon melee weapon that we find inside the wall. Now, a couple of other things I would like to say about Mob. Now, the plane that we build in Mob is called Icarus. Icarus is named after the god, well, not god, but the Greek mythology of a man who was trying to fly, flew too close to the sun, and died. That might be a little metaphor.
It's interesting because, like, you play in Rev, and there's literally this just massive blue sun, right? And Icarus never ends up really making it to the destination, but you see it go through Shadows of Evil, and what's in Shadows of Evil? This big octopus in the sky, right? It's so crazy how they planned it like that. So much planning with the BO2 and BO3 storyline, for sure.
Freedom, crash, and we're still trapped in Alcatraz prison. Pretty depressing. Now, let's bring it up with a more light-hearted fact. If you go into the library mob, there's a book called Alcatraz Swim Team. And like I said earlier, with the prisoners drowning, it's
They didn't make the swim team, bro.
Self-aware.
They did not make the swim team. Yeah, that's
Another
true.
interesting detail I would like to add in is that when your character gets downed a mob, they talk to themselves. It's very interesting and it expands out how personal and
lonely they were.
How good these characters are. How human they are.
Yeah, how human
now
and
we're going
in
to
prison
Origins
they
to
were
finish off
really.
BO2. Origins has the Templar zombies, which ridiculously attack generators and are super annoying, but this helpful tip will tell you that they do not attack your generators if you have less than 3 active. If you have 3 or more activated, they will come and take them. Now, this map, in fact, had the first ever helmet. Now, helmets only appear throughout this.
Yeah, the PS is not a helmet. I mean, I love the mask and the helmet system. I think Revelations did it so good. And I was even wondering if we should add a mask into Die Rise. But I came to the conclusion that I don't think it would even work. Even a Leaper mask would just be ridiculous. Because Leapers are so easy to take out in Die Rise. So I love the idea, though, of masks. And I definitely want to incorporate them much more into the future.
And BO3.
Like, have different masks, have different mechanics.
Which I really quite liked the side.
No, the masks are so cool.
Helmets basically give little side effects and have interesting little Easter egg steps to get them. Now, on this map, we have the golden helmet, which protects your... you don't down when you get stepped on by the robot. I forgot how you get it. I think it's headshot. And then BO3 has a ton
it's just digging up. You just dig up. It's just a random amount.
more of them.
There's no set
that help
way.
out a lot. Last thing about Origins, I think, is that there's a little poster
Noble Swag
where
13 is
one
his
of the
name.
notables, you shoot it, and it actually drops down and opens a hole for a cipher. Now, usually I wouldn't add a cipher, but I did not know about this one, and it's pretty interesting how they did it.
Yeah, the Origin cipher is
Let's go
pretty
into Shadows
crazy.
of Evil with the man in the beginning of the intro that gets murdered by Jessica. Now, this man won the raffle at the beginning of Call of Duty Black Ops 3's.
I wish I would have won that role. I had spent an ungodly amount for that Omaze donation thing. But I did end up going to meet the Z House because of that Omaze event. And so it's kind of crazy how that ended up going. And we all got to play to Eisendrache first in the world, which was sick. That was really cool.
Now, this raffle was to be a zombie in the game. And this man, Richard Rodriguez, won.
Yeah.
Now, instead of being a zombie, they actually put him in the game for this intro and added another detail, but we'll get into that later.
And they put them
Next
in
thing
GK
about Shadows
as a
of
sign.
Evil is that there's a cut gobblegum that actually was left in, not to use, but we see its design on a window.
Yeah, this one was called Private Eyes, but it became Idle Eyes. And so you see how it's a blue gobblegum, right? Blue gobblegums would have lasted multiple rounds. If this was a multiple round gobblegum where you're ignored by zombies throughout the whole round, that would have been busted. Straight busted.
Not sure what the gobblegum's effect was. Now, the cool, interesting thing about Shadows of Evil markets, there's a shop called Blundell, obviously in reference to Jason Blundell. And
it would have been an easy round 100, but it would have taken so long to get to the round 100.
For Shadows of Evil, but they took it out.
They took it out because of copyright. Could you imagine copywriting this garbage-looking Cthulhu symbol? So whoever copyrighted trademark for that is so lame.
Game. Wonder why they did that.
So lame.
Next thing I'd like to add is that Jack Vincent, one of the characters of Shadows of Evil, actually arrested the 4 Mob of the Dead characters we know. We learned through this.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
He says, quotes we said. Another member of the Shadows of Evil cast, Nero, is suspected to have sold his soul through posters we see of him and the devil. Now, one quick thing I'd like to add in that...
The devil being the Shadow Man, because that's basically how they retcon that whole thing with Mob of the Dead.
Not many people talk about is that Icarus, the plane from Mob of the Dead, makes an appearance a lot in BO3.
Oh, yeah.
Not just in this map. you can see it flying
And
after
the
you turn on
giant
Pack
as
Punch.
well.
But it also shows up on the giant, on top of the teleporter C, and surprisingly enough, shows up in Zetsubou flying around. Not sure if that's on
Yeah, I forgot about that. It's in Zetsubou.
DE.
It's just
DK,
going through the
Rev,
portals of the
but I
maps
was
that you're
wondering
playing.
why Icarus keeps showing up and up. Maybe it has something to do with the super Easter egg, like the hidden possible Easter egg, or maybe that's dealing with the KN44s. But I summed it down
They're carrying the Mob of the Dead crew all the way to Blood of the Dead. That's what they're doing, bro.
to probably being a teaser for Blood of the Dead. on
Yeah,
BO4.
honestly, yeah. Blood of the
Next
Dead
thing I would like
leak,
to add in
literally.
is that the map of Alcatraz itself is shown on this map in the sewers behind some missing posters. There's also a map of Origins found in one of the rift rooms, and the Ruby Rabbit, one of the
It's so crazy because they tried to show all the way back at Shadow's release that the timeline connected everything, man.
clubs.
That's
Is a
so
reference
insane
to
to me.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit with what's her name? Forgot the girl's name, but the main girl from that
The
movie.
big booby girl.
Now, this is a very interesting one that I did not know
Jessica
about. In the Waterford District on the
Rose.
docks, there's a green light. This is in reference to a book about a man who stares at green light on the docks. This book is
The Great
in
Gatsby.
fact called, wait a minute, let me pull it up.
It's The Great
It is
Gatsby.
called
I know it.
Great Gatsby.
Yes.
I think I've pronounced that right.
Classic book. I mean, yeah, it's not that he's staring at the green light. It's that the green light is how his girlfriend that's dating another man across the pond is like, it's like the beckoning call to her. That's what it is. And so I didn't actually realize that was a Great Gatsby reference. That's
That is
interesting.
a very interesting one. Speaking of Waterfront District, there is inside the boxing gym a bunch of boxer photos. All these photos are Treyarch developers. Another thing I like.
So Peter Livingston, that was the guy that I was telling you guys about earlier, who was telling me that the Shangri-La area was going to be underwater. So that's his name, Peter Livingston, and he's the one that you activate the noir mode Easter egg from.
Add in is the impossible Easter egg. I talked about this in the hoax video, but I would like to add in that Jason Blundell did say after 8 years he would in fact reveal the Easter egg. It's the 8th year.
He forgot. LOL. He was just on JC Backfire's live stream. He forgot. LOL.
Since BO3's launch. We're still waiting on it. Now I
Yeah,
know
still-
Glitchy Queen,
and you'll
Queen
never
and a
get
couple
it.
other people found like an
You'll
something that says
never
aim
get
and
it.
diamond camo flickers on some weapons.
You'll never get it, brother.
But I don't know. Maybe he'll say something about it. Maybe he won't.
I know Glitchy Queen thought that was Morse code for a bit, but it means nothing.
Now, another thing I would like to add is the dead reporter. I think most people notice, but it's a dead body you find on the map. Now, this
Bro, be
reporter was the
sleeped.
Shadow Man's minion who went and got the summoning key and all this and set up most of the stuff on Shadow's Evil. He wasn't killed. He was killed by Primus Richthofen, who stabbed him.
I know the egg, the impossible egg, it's not like a traditional Easter egg. It's literally something where you have to like line up in the map perfectly to see some sort of decoder message. And it's probably something for ciphers that are still unsolved in the giant and whatnot. It's all a bunch of garbage. It was probably teasing like the chaos storyline, and then you look at how that went, and it all means nothing, you know?
Him a bunch of times after getting an altercation with him. And this reporter actually has a note on him that says M. I think it was addressed to Monty, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, people thought it was
Another
Maxis at
really
first, but
interesting
yes, it
fact
was
that I didn't
Monty.
know about is that
Yeah.
the Gobblegums in BO3 are color based. See, the purple
Oh, yeah.
Gobblegums are
Activations.
activated Goblins.
Yep.
Like player activated them.
Blue is
Each of them
rounds,
you
green
have
is
to activate
time,
yourself, like Phoenix
orange
up
is
in
just
plain sight. Green
whatever.
ones are time based, usually lasting minutes or seconds, such as shopping free.
I took the green light as a symbolism for the unachievable American dream of the time. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. And also, like, the Great Gatsby was similarly placed in the same time zone as Shadows of Evil at the time.
The orange
Thank you,
ones
Spinach.
are
What's up, man?
auto
Thank you for the
activated. These activate as soon as you pop them, that being like Pop Shocks, Perkaholic.
Yeah.
And the last one is the blue ones, which last for rounds. Those are such as Power Vacuum and
It's interesting that they didn't really do that with the elixir system, right? That's kind of
think
wild
near-
that they
yeah,
didn't end
near
up doing
death.
that.
those. That's very interesting. I didn't know about this. Another cool fact is there's a red gobblegum that is inside the machine, even though there's no red gobblegums in the game.
Yeah, what would that have
And
done?
there's a store near in Spawn of Shadows
Red
Evil
gobblegum.
called Zack's Hats, I think. But all the hats in there are the Shadow Man's hats, similar to the.
I feel so. Anything red, like red drops, are usually like bad drops, right? So I feel like a red gobblegum would have detrimented you. That's what it would have done. But then they would be like, why should we even add this? That would have been so crazy. You know how Cold War added in the jump scare through like the teddy bear on the box? That would have been sick if like you pop the gobblegum sometimes and it gives you the red gobblegum and it like jump scares you or gives you a negative effect. That would have been really sick.
Monty,
yeah, like a 10-20% chance of getting it too.
Shadow Man's hat,
that would have been cool.
Hat shows up a lot in Build Free on the Chronicles maps. And I possibly showed up on BO2. If Monty's scarf was there, I would assume Shadow
kind of the inspiration for the Owl's hat and Rev too.
That is Nero's lair. The first ritual site is very interesting. Not only do you have some things like the spinning bullseye thing that he killed his wife in the intro on, and a bunch of posters in Nero in the book that we use later on, but there's actually little jars. These are the little Arnie jars. I was wondering, since we don't know any origins of the little Arnie, if Nero
that's interesting. So he made the Arnie's.
He does have something to do
I think
with
he did. Yeah.
His book.
That is true.
The main Easter egg.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? That's it for Shadows of Evil. We go into the Giant. The Giant has a pretty interesting one. If you go behind the perk that's above the teleporter on the right, upstairs, go behind that wall. You can actually buy it through the wall or prone to get the points. And the characters on the map, the premise characters change through higher rounds. Once you get through higher rounds, they start acting more like their Ultimates counterparts.
That's true, because of the 115 illusions. Yeah, there's really also cool on this map, Easter egg storytelling right there, man.
Maxis's office that we can see.
I love that. I feel like the red gobbles would be automatic, but based on conditions like pop shocks. Yeah, I mean, like it could almost be like a gambler's gobblegum too, right? Where they give you something good or they could give you something bad.
Golden bars,
right? It's all dependent.
Near Teleporter C, this is in reference to the Nazi golden experiment. Takio, when he gets down, sometimes mentions a man coming towards him. This is in reference to the Shadow Man. And Richtofen says some lines by some of the Shadows of Evil crew, showing that he was in fact watching them during the events of Shadows of Evil, which is even more supported by the ending in which he pops in and steals the summoning key. Now we go into Darai's track. I felt like it got left out a little bit in the hoax video since we didn't have any for it, but in this video we got
there's not a lot of stuff for
first in the castle. I think it's the bell tower. You can in fact see a little monitor showing Ultimus Dempsey on his rocket.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Speaking of the rocket, around the map, if you sit down, look in the sky, around the map you can see a star like going around. That's actually his rocket flying, and we use later in the Easter egg, we zap it down. Thought it was pretty cool.
His rocket is literally just a white pixel.
Go on to
it'd be like that.
The paintings, for the wolf bow. The third painting shows a beast, a Apothicon beast coming down from the sky, destroying the castle. This beast is the same beast as in Shadows of Evil after we activate Pack Punch and Shadow Man betrays us. It's the one in the sky.
I wish we would have saw it back in another map, though. To be honest, I really wish they would have put it back.
Really talk about that.
It's true. Yeah.
Next thing I'd like to add in is that the castle trap that we use at the beginning near Double Tap, I believe, has been used a lot by the community for a glitch that multiplies zombies once you kill them with the trap. There's also
same thing with the Rev Popkin stomach with the Margulis.
Interesting one. I don't see many people talking about. At spawn, there's a set of hands on the bars. These are Primus Takio's hands. Showing.
Did they ever explain why this is Primus Takio? Why? Like, is it just like an alternate timeline? I'm assuming that's just it.
The multiverse.
They never explained this.
Happened beforehand.
It just simply exists.
A version of Takio dying here. Another thing I'd like to add in is that the tram cart has some weird little thing, like a rare thing that you could either get a Pack Punch weapon or the ray gun from it.
Yeah, the second
But you
gondola.
have to do some things. I don't know. I think it's involved.
You have to throw grenades right at the second gondola as soon as it spawns in. Like, what a strange egg for them to
Just
add.
tossing grenades in there.
But at the real Eisendrache location, there is a gondola like that, but there is only one. So I guess it's just like they thought it would be cool to like put in a secret second one,
There's a hidden
in the map.
BRM wall by in the MPD room. You have to run all the way around to activate it, I think.
That's true.
There's also a pretty interesting Easter egg about London. If you use the plunger melee weapon near a stack of newspapers.
This was, honestly, the more I think about it, this was probably just a little Easter egg that Blundell put to like hearken to his place that you can actually see in Revelations. There's like a little old car, a London car, and I think Jason Blundell literally put his house inside of Revelations.
Where the second
which
dragon's
is pretty
at,
cool.
And you may get a bunch of kills there. The newspapers changed, showing a parade in London to zombie apocalypse started. This was hinted at a London map possibly being in BO4. Never got.
I don't think this was actually a London map. I think this was just like Blundell harkening back to like his London home because he's from the UK, right? And then in Rev you can find his house
sadly,
there.
similar to the Paris one. Der Eisen
Definitely not
map
supposed
was originally,
to be a map.
Instead of being called Der Eisendrache, was going to be called Der Eisendrachen. This was changed, but not changed enough. There's still signs around the map that say Der.
Yeah, it was changed because it was wrong. That's why. Jason docks himself in Rev, literally.
Talk to Dr. Gruff.
He purposely did that, though.
There's not Richtoff in your game. You hear his voice lines through the radio.
My man hit a Foozy tube type play right there, bro. I don't know what that was about.
There's a visual update on our characters since we see them in the Giant. They have more bruises and cut-ups. Richtoff has a cut under his left eye, and Dempsey has some bruises. There's also a ton of Canorium copies on this map, which are interesting to talk about. There's a glitch where you can get two of the same gun. If you pack punch one of them, run to the wall behind, buy it again, run over there and pick it up, you have two of the same gun.
That's almost in like every
why you
game.
Would want it, but I guess that's cool.
I think that's in every COD
The last
Zombies
thing I'd like
game.
to add in is that the ending outro for Der Eisendrache is very funny to mess around with because you could do a lot. You could toss monkeys and they'll blow up while the outro's going on, or you can
the reason why it's so glitchy is because that was the last map that they didn't have the new BL4 system, which they introduced on Zetsubou.
Have like near death.
It's very interesting, like how
little crosses.
once you know the back end, you can understand the front end, right?
This first one's very interesting. I think Lex was talking about this in the hoax video on 5. I was gonna mention this. Let me clear my throat for this. Ultimus Tachyon gets fucked by the spider. Yep.
Dude, okay. This was a theory made by the gaming revolution, bro. And like, I don't know. Some people could actually confirm, I guess, that it was real. But like, I just think it was like some sort of insider joke. I know I said it last time in my other video, but like, I refuse to believe Treyarch put something as that stupid into the map.
You heard it here. It's fucked.
It's because he like impregnates the spider or something, and that's why there's so many spawn. I don't even want to think about.
But big old.
I don't even want to think about it.
There's a lot.
I don't even want to think about it. There's no shot, bro.
So
yeah.
Let's go on.
I don't even want to think about that.
Time disruption on this map.
They did not have to do all that.
Like messed up. The time is broken on this map. You can see planes flying in and out in the sky along with Icarus.
Yeah. Which I think was from Origins, and then you have the room with like the GK eggs. Like Zetsubou was all over the place, man.
That's also what destroyed Peter McCain's plane. It's the first map with 2 different bosses, with the spider boss and Tachyon. An interesting fact I found while doing the Easter egg on this map is that when you get the golden bucket, you can, if you click L3, R3, you can toggle through the waters, blue water, green water, purple water, without having to go pick up the waters individually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Cool. There's also a toggle keybind for it. It's pretty interesting that I figured that out. You can also do a similar, like a...
There's so many things on Zetsubou I'll never know. There's so many strange mechanics on that map.
If you stand inside
that's why Tachyon looks so diseased.
Yeah. Effects and seeing
he looks like he got drained.
The last thing I'd like to add, once you finish the Easter egg yourself, all the characters, excluding Richtofen, I think, will be giving blood vials. This is due to the fact that they go to Alcatraz and get Transit, the Victus crew's blood vials, like we see in Blood.
You're telling me they did the whole Blood of the Dead Easter egg in like 20 minutes flat? 2 seconds flat. That whole white cutscene part? No shot.
Now we go into GK,
No
which was
shot.
also left out in the hoax video. If you finish this under an hour and 15 minutes, finish
You
the
get
Easter egg, you get a
perma-perks.
permanent perkaholic for the rest of that game.
But
Premise
you
crew
lose quicker
statues
lives
also
still.
show up around the map a lot, and in spawn there's a sign that says "Vengeance will be mine." VR. This is a reference to Viktor Reznov.
Why did they not put him in Cold War, bro? What a missed opportunity.
Who's that's kind of his
It's
catchphrase.
so annoying to
There's
me.
also another sign which is in reference to Richard Rodriguez, the man that won the Zombies raffle.
And
He
yeah,
has
he's
his own
at the
street
spawn.
sign, which is pretty cool. Yeah, he got fucked by Jessica and gets his own street sign. Good job, my man.
Good job, my man.
Relations. This has a couple of them. In the trailer, we see Peter McCain. Why?
Oh, man.
Don't know. Also in the trailer, we see the rocket shield.
Primus Peter McCain. He's back, baby. Primus Peter McCain.
Was not in this map. Instead, got turned into the dragon shield that we get on Gorod.
Yeah.
Also in Revelations, and this goes for GK as well. The time trials give you more XP than the Easter eggs themselves, which is very, very funny in my opinion.
Yeah, the balancing, especially like when you do the Rev Easter egg for the first time, you instantly can hit max level in zombies. We do not know why. We don't know why, man. I don't know why they decided to make it like that.
I don't know how you activated it, but the people I was with activated it. It's like you go to Samantha's room, interact with the box, and every single mystery box weapon and wall weapon will be auto pack punch.
Yeah, it's when you do all the other Easter eggs and you get the little light from the front car light, which is at the spawn from like the London part. That's what the London part was all about. So I guess because every single Easter egg that they do, it's always canonical to like the devs, right? Like the kneeling at the shadows of evil noir Easter egg dev thing, right? And so my guess is that like you take the light that Blundell gave you from the beginning with like the London tease and your Eisendrache, and then you grab that from the car in Revelations and you put it and give it back to Samantha. It's literally like some sort of symbolic thing that he wanted, and then all the weapons become upgraded, and then you get the Path of Sorrows katana, which is garbo in BL3 compared to BL4. It's so
There's
bad.
also the HVK thing with that the HVK's wall buy is the Vesper's wall buy now. Like it's the same chalk as the Vesper. It's very weird. I don't know why.
I think they just made
also
a mistake
in the intro,
there.
You can see the Wolfbow paintings inside the Maxis' house.
Right,
That's
right.
enough for BO3 though. We go into Black Ops 4, which has a lot.
Oh
First
yeah,
things first,
tons
Blood
of
Dead.
BL4.
On Blood of Dead, when you activate the pack punch, you can see it actually teleports from its original spot on the Golden Gate Bridge to where it is on Blood.
I did not realize that until this year that it TPs from the Golden Gate Bridge. What a massive mistake to not include the Golden Gate Bridge in Blood, in my opinion. Still one of the biggest mistakes of that map.
Now you can also tell
I know you did the
for some
katana
of the
better.
more
I agree,
trickier
though.
Parts of the Easter
I
egg,
agree.
like the bird step and the Morse code step, you can tell where it's at or what the Morse code step is by looking outside the map. There should be flashes of lights. There's been multiple videos on that.
Morse code. Nobody asked.
There's the Banjo Ghost during the Ghost Step. The Banjo Ghost is a reference to Al Capone, I'm pretty sure of, who played the banjo. One other thing I would like to add in.
I wish they just made that more clear. I despise that like you have to know the lore of Alcatraz to like understand that in the Easter egg. I just wish they would have made that more transparent.
That,
you know,
while you have the annoying catwalk and there's all those hands coming out at you on Blood Dead, you can actually shoot those hands and you gain 10 points from it, which I never knew, and that's
I actually didn't know that either.
One last
I never played
cool
Blood though,
side
to be
Easter egg,
honest.
which I don't see many people talking about. The Weasel Arlington from Mob of the Dead, probably the most important character from that map, has a bunch of drawings that you can find around the map doing like miscellaneous stuff. There's no like big Easter egg to it. It's just
And there's a Richtofen drawing in there as well that I remember from Blood. Blood had just so many random things. They just put it all in there. Put it all in that
pretty cool.
map.
Sucks that we don't see that more often. Going to Classified. Classified doesn't have many, but in the Area 51 area...
I'm glad he's excluding Chaos, because there's no point talking about interesting facts about Chaos, because it's just never going to come back. The interesting facts about Chaos is that they ripped all that garbage from Chaos and put it into Vanguard for absolutely no reason. That's the interesting fact about Vanguard
as long as you want,
and Chaos.
As long as one of your teammates doesn't teleport back. Or as long as everybody is on Area 51, I think.
Yeah.
It's one of the two.
I just skipped through the video. No, I was like today's years old when I realized that Alpha Omega, in Classified, it takes you 30 rounds to clear the debris in the Area 51 room. That's insane to me, bro.
10 character from that map has a bunch of drawings that you can find around the map doing like Classified teleport back. Or as long as everybody is on Area 51, I think.
Yeah.
It's one of the two. Another thing is that in the panic room, there's a blacked out photo of Primus Nikolai, similar to the blacked out photo in Kino.
And this is where I say Zelensky probably made it Gersh, Blundell probably made it Primus Nikolai.
I just wanted to add that in. Another thing on Alpha. Now we go into Alpha Omega. Alpha Omega had introduced Rushmore, which was the computer for
Boo.
Now there's a bunch of
Sophia was better.
That give you either bonuses for the game or just little funny stuff.
Leviathan also did it better than Alpha Omega.
Gadro, which is the main boss on this map, gets sent to Green Run at the end of the boss fight. So we send it to Transit, which is pretty interesting. You're also able somehow to glitch and get the Chaos specials on this map, specialist on this map.
Really?
Don't know how that is done, but that's pretty interesting apparently.
Honestly, I can understand that considering they were like, remember when Blundell said they're not converging the storylines? And then in Blood of the Dead, I'll never forget where you just randomly see Diego playing in Blood of the Dead. And you just be like, what the frick?
Now, the Pentagon thief who was captured at the end of 5 was sent to Camp Edward, and
he got bullied.
He got
of
him in the prisoner holding cell area of the map.
Yeah,
where he was tortured.
Rotted.
Now we're going to tag their Toten.
Biggest L is not adding the Pentagon thief into BO4 as well. Not even on Classified or Alpha Omega. What a L.
Tag their Toten has a couple of them. First things first is the Call of Dead cast was killed. Sarah Michelle Gardner, Danny Trejo,
yeah,
Michael
Sarah
Ritter,
Michelle Gellar was the only
Robert
survivor,
England,
right?
all dead.
Or they all died?
Their
no, they all
weapons
died.
For music Easter egg,
yeah.
Except for Michael Rooker, surprisingly. I don't know why they have like a sawed-off shotgun there or something. Pretty weird. But yeah,
it's interesting why they didn't do that.
The next thing is that in Spawn, there's the boathouse. You can actually glitch through and go through the window of it, but it might kill you, so you gotta be careful. And the last thing I'd like to add in is when you have the snowball and also have the shield out, you underhand throw it. Let's do the chaos maps real quick.
That's like literally all the interesting facts about Tog. That is so sad. The finale of Ether, by the way.
Voyage and the Voyage intro.
Captain he is doing chaos. Let's see it.
Who is the real captain of the Titanic? We see turned into a zombie. There's also 2.
Wow, that's kind of morbid. Could you imagine, like, it's wild that we made a national tragedy a zombies map. Like, I could give another example, like the Twin Towers, for example. Could you imagine doing something like that? In 100 years, that's probably what's going to happen. It's kind of wild that, like, stuff like that happens, you know?
2 Bowie knife wall buys, I don't know why, but it's on this map. There's a baseball mitt and ball in one of the rooms. This is a tribute to one of the Treyarch developers' friends. And there's a newspaper somewhere on the map. I'm not sure the exact location, but it talks about the events of Dead of Night. On to 9 with a small little one. During the St. Patrick's Day event on BO4, there was a new side Easter egg added on in which you do a series of events, and the mystery box has a green color come out of it. Spin the mystery box and you get a leprechaun homunculus.
I forgot about this. What in the chat if you forgot about this? Oh my gosh. This is the very first St. Patrick's Day Easter egg. I fully forgot about this.
And that's it.
Oh my gosh.
Changed the appearance of it. That's a pretty cool Easter egg.
Why did they just keep that in, bro? What?
I actually am curious to know, does anyone know anything about the homunculus, like its origins and backstory?
We do.
I don't know
We
if
do
it
not
got
know.
one or if it's just a little crazy man.
Jason Mundell injected a serum into Tyler 1, and then that's essentially how the homunculus came to be.
Now on Dead of Night, you can tell what statues are where by the insignias that will be above doorways. I'm not sure. This one's pretty confusing, but yeah, it's similar to the other ones. Also, isn't really a nod to GK, but in the cemetery you can see the same little kid statues that were in GK.
But the storylines are not connected.
It's mainly reusing assets.
Yeah, not connected.
Now we go
by the
into
way.
Ancient Evil. Now, when you're in the underworld area for the blood gauntlet
the
step,
blood gauntlet side.
you can see a boat go by. I've forgotten what that was mainly from, but it's a boat that's dealing with Greek mythology a lot.
Yeah, it's the only way to get to the underworld, basically, where like the one lost salesman would row you to the bottom of to Sheol, to hell. So very Greek mythological belief, actually not how it is.
That
not real.
He sails through the underworld.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting nod that they added.
Very Greek though.
There's also foreshadowing of the big twist at the end of Ancient Evil. Once you're going through the Easter egg, you unearth, unsecret a wall, and see two two dead women chained up and their heads cut off. We learn later through, I think it's radios, that those two were Medusa's sisters and their heads were cut off by Pericles, which is the guy we fight.
Perseus, yeah. It's man, I just, it's so interesting because it's like they don't ever show the cool portions of the lore. That's like the worst part. Like they show you the parts that are just kind of like, ugh. Like you fight Perseus, you fight the unicorn. It's just like, okay, I
think his name is Pericles. I can't be too sure. But and this is a main foreshadowing to that the Oracle is in fact Medusa.
Yeah.
And we set her free at the end of Ancient Evil.
And then it never went
another
anywhere.
Interesting fact about Medusa. I don't know why Treyarch did this, but they actually detailed her lady parts.
Treyarch, are you serious? What?
Let's move on to Cold.
What? No wonder Chaos got canceled, bro.
Cold War has
what?
Actually, D Machine. The Wonder Fizz on D Machine's kind of inconsistent, except till now.
Here's the real question, chat. Here's the real question. Who found that out? Who found that out, bro? Which one of y'all was it, bro? That's not right, bro. That's why Chaos was canceled, y'all. I'm telling you.
Where I figured out that
that's criminal.
After it appears in the real world at the top of Nacht after you turn the power on.
They knew exactly what they were doing,
which is very good to know if you're high rounding, because that's a pretty high round spot.
Yeah, for the Wonder Fizz,
I would also
right?
like to talk about the Cold War Super Easter egg, once you beat every single map. I'm pretty sure you spawn in with a Pack Punch weapon.
Not Pack Punch. You get purple rarity, which, I mean, to be honest, in Cold War is pretty much a Pack Punch weapon. Like, when you spawn with any purple rarity weapon in Cold War, it's just so bustedly broken. The worst part is, though, it takes 1,000 high-grade salvage to get to gold. Just takes too long, man.
Don't remember if this is real. I might have to go for the...
I really hope they rework the salvage system in COD 2024. Because it's going to come back. Shout out to Matthew. Thank you for the prime.
I just wanted to add that in. I heard that about Cold War's Super Easter egg. Another thing I'd like to add in is a pretty interesting little side Easter egg. I don't know what this is about, but when you go into the Dark Ether mode and walk through Nacht, there's a bunch of little ghost monkeys all around the map. I don't know what's up with that.
Did they ever explain that? I don't think there was ever an explanation for that. They just said monkey.
Another thing about the Nacht building itself,
I don't think they ever explained that.
And some of the graffiti is interesting. There's like astronaut space monkey suit, which is maybe a nod to Cosmic Silverback from Dead Ops Arcade game mode. There's also
That's like the only tie-in I could think of too is Dead Ops Arcade 3, which should have actually been in BO4.
a lot of like dogs, which look like hellhounds. But yeah, on to Firebase
I mean,
Z.
why would they do
This
that? I
one
don't
surprised
know.
me a lot. The mimics on the map, which can turn into grenades, special score
Anything.
streaks, a bunch, can actually turn into perk machines,
What?
which I never knew.
Really?
There's also
How?
the Wonder Fizz was introduced on this map, well, for Cold War.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting because the Wonder Fizz we learned from Intel is built by Zykov, who is the main bad guy. He's the Forsaken.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, the Wonder Fizz wasn't D-Machine, but I didn't know it was built by Zyklon.
I was in
That's
Dark
interesting.
Ether, he assembled it, and I guess he was helping
Dark Ether story is a massive L. It's so boring. I cannot be asked.
us out. He also assembled a bunch of other stuff like the beacon and outbreak, and you can tell it's assembled for all the exposed wiring and the front cover. You can
Zykov brought Outbreak to Call of Duty Zombies. He is the villain. He
actually
is
was a
the
Juggernaut
villain.
machine originally. Another thing that I would like to add in about Firebase Z is that during the little bunny Easter egg, like it's a little side Easter egg that you do to get a free jug, you're in an all black room, but you can actually shoot the ceiling, so it shows that you're actually in like a box or something. Onto Outbreak, the zoo area in Outbreak,
Zoo
surprisingly
lore?
enough, hellhounds spawn in more over there due to them being animals.
Zoo lore. We made it. Zoo made it onto the list. I never would I thought in my life. Best Cold War map made it. Let's go, bro. The zoo with all the animals. So much lore. Isn't it wild that 5 with the pig at the bottom of the map has more animals than a map called Zoo?
There's also a secret on this map.
That's
It shows
so
up on Forsaken,
insane,
but I'm
bro.
not really talking about the Forsaken one. It's more rarer on this map. This map, it's a special zombie called Ronald Reagan with a mohawk.
Ronald
Play on
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. If you kill it, you get a Reagan. It's pretty interesting. I've never seen him before, and
I can't believe the community did that as a meme and they just added it into the game. I mean, they've done that a lot, like Slaughter Slide with Banana Colada. They've done that a lot, you know. I've only ever gotten him once. He's really rare. Same thing with the same thing with all of the jump scares as well, like the mystery box jump scares. I've only ever gotten it once. It's very rare.
Ice, my own gameplay. I've never fought against him, but then
Yeah.
again, I might just have to play Outbreak.
He's
more.
in Forsaken
Interesting
as well,
fact, the
though,
Outbreak
right?
can't hold the Reiki and the Reagan at the same time. Sucks.
Boo.
Moving on to Mauer der Toten. Mauer der Toten only
Yeah, but you can hold the ray gun and the die at the same time. How does that make any sense?
has one, surprisingly. On East Berlin Street, there's a bar titled Der, I might butcher this, but Der Verruckt ne Pipi. I just said Pipi.
Wait, what?
Now, this is a reference
What
to
am I to say?
Verruckt. Obviously, I think it's called
My man just said pee-pee.
the Crazy Bar. I don't know. Going on to Forsaken. There's a Perkaholic Easter egg that
My man's fun fact for Mauer was they got PP in Mauer Toten. Very fair play. Der PP, boys. It's in Mauer Toten.
not many people know
Trust.
about dealing with a mannequin. It's pretty easy to do, but it's very time consuming. There's also a little race car arcade Easter egg that you can do. And
I thought all the Forsaken Easter eggs were so mid. I just felt like they were just not interesting at all. Like an RCXD, I don't know. I did not enjoy the Forsaken egg or the side eggs. I just thought they were really trivial.
near the end, a gas leak blows up the tower that has Kravchenko and fuck, I haven't played Cold War in a minute, so
The
I forgot
freaking girl, bro. I don't even know what her name is.
the guy's
Va-
name.
Oh,
But
Peck.
another one of the main bad guys.
Yeah,
we
Peck,
see for
Peck and
Cold War series, and you can
Kravchenko.
actually
Yeah.
see the explosion go off in the tower. Now, let's get into some of the non.
And that's the character they're gonna launch COD 2024 with, Peck. Brother, what is going on? No, Valentina died in Mauer. Died, you know.
non-Treyarch maps. God damn, we are 54 minutes in. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. All right.
One in the chat if you made it. We made it.
First fact about
What is he gonna say about Vanguard, bro?
Vanguard.
I'm so
And for
curious.
non-trick, I'm just going to be talking about the games.
What is he gonna say about
First
Vanguard?
fact about Vanguard is I spent $70 on this goddamn game just to play the campaign and not even touch multiplayer zombies. That is a true fact. As soon as I beat campaign, I deleted the game without playing multiplayer zombies.
If they continue to retcon Chaos, I'm blaming Call of Duty Vanguard forever, bro.
Didn't make a bet with my friend.
That's what Vanguard did.
That if I beat all the Cold War maps and BO3 maps, that I would go into Vanguard with him and beat all the Vanguard maps.
That is a fun fact, though, that you wasted $70 on Vanguard. I mean, listen, we all did, man. One in the chat if that's you.
Beat all the Cold War maps.
Oof.
And I did recently just beat all the BO3 maps, so dear God.
There's been people saying that, like, the Vanguard lore is gonna come back into COD 2024. Like, all the, like, gods that I was hyped about initially. Oh, bro, I was so sad that they gypped us with that. They gypped us!
I have to do that now. But a
so
real fact
pissed
about
about
Vanguard
that.
Zombies is there's a voice line on Shi No Numa Reborn in which it references Alistair Rhodes, who is a main character in the Chaos story,
which was all garbage bait, fam.
Both the stories
it was
together,
all
Chaos is not
bait.
Now we're going Exo Zombies. Exo Zombies actually has alternative ending for Outbreak, the first map, in which if you get all the ID badges,
you can exfil.
I forgot what the planes were called, but it comes down and you actually leave free.
First exfil was in 2014.
Pretty cool alternate ending. There's also like different alternate Easter egg in Infection. In Infection, you can either have the Bubba robot at the Burger Town blow up, or it comes alive and helps you fight. One more thing I would like to add about Exo.
Imagine double freaking Easter egg endings in Exo Zombies. How down bad were we?
The zombies, bro? There's a secret boss
how
in the map
down
carrier.
Bad?
I forgot how this boss activates, but similar to the big zombies that show up in Infection. It comes out of the water and shoots like EMPs and shit. It's pretty interesting. On to IW. IW has a celebrity actor on each map, except for...
I miss when... I don't know, I just wish Treyarch did that. Imagine you could play as a fifth secret character on every map like IW did. IW did it so good, man. I miss that.
Or Beast and Beyond, which is...
It's just too bad I didn't care about the IW story that much. It would have been so sick. Like, could you imagine one map you play as, like, Maxis? The other map, you can, like, Moon, you can play as, like, Samantha with, like, a secret code or something, right? Like, that would be sick, man.
Kind of strange.
That would have been so much better than Operators.
Now, there's also secret characters that you can play as instead of playing the main cast, and that's by doing different miscellaneous things. Like,
I mean, that's what we did today. We were playing Willard Wyler today on Space On.
Willard Wyler, who's the main villain in the IW series, zombie series.
He's the only one that gives you a melee weapon too, which, I mean, y'all, we saw it was like good up until like round 15. It's insanely powerful.
Then you can play as the celebrity cast themselves, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, there were a lot of celebrities in IW.
Called Boss Mode, where you can play...
I'm so excited to play Nicki Minaj in COD 2024. Ooh, let's go, boys.
That's boss fights. Just do the boss fights. It lets you set up, get your perks, get your weapons, wonder weapons. This was a very, very cool little side game mode, and oh dear lord, why?
Daily reminder that Nicki Minaj was put as an operator before Rick Toffin. How down bad is Call of Duty?
Why could this not have just been added to all the other games? Imagine this little extra mode in BO3 Zombies. You could just automatically load into the Shadowman boss fight. There was a mod made for that actually on PC.
There was, yeah, there was.
And
it's an amazing mod. The boss rush mode on IW was so freaking smart too. Lee's just a genius, man.
It's very good actually.
Absolutely.
Now in Raven
genius.
the Redwoods in the cabin, there's a big picture of the developers of the game.
I really like that picture at the spawn in Red.
A little Easter egg wonder weapon for each map. Once you beat that Easter egg on that map, you unlock a special wonder weapon that you can only get after beating Easter egg on Zombie.
That was so cool, man.
In Spaceland, it was an ice weapon.
Well, Forge Freeze you can get from the arcade. In Rave, it was the chainsaw.
In the Redwoods, it's like a chainsaw weapon.
Yeah.
On Shaolin Shuffle, it's
the katana. Radioactive thing has nothing, and Beast has nothing as well. Those maps needed more cooking in the pot, man.
Beyond an Attack of the Radioactive Fiend, if they do have any. Speaking of Attack of the Radioactive Fiend, there's a sign that talks about on the side of the road talks about the cabin from Ravenwood Woods. Also,
I would have never saw it because the map is literally the color gray or green or blue or red, whatever tyranny you want to put your eyes through.
Across from Elvira's couch is a bunch of reels with random extinction maps, because extinction gets brought in a lot from Call of Duty Ghosts, especially in Beast.
That is true, and especially in Beast from Beyond. Yeah.
From Beyond.
Why
and
would
Willard
they do that?
Often threatens Elvira by sending her to extinction, which is the first map in Call of Duty Ghosts.
Which is misogyny.
You know what I mean.
Willard.
Now, World War II, and we're done with this. We're probably going to push an hour. You can melee faster while crouching, and in Final Reich...
Yeah, that was the weirdest thing in World War II. If you crouch, you melee faster. Who decided that?
Stairs in one of the houses in the village. There's the Jack-in-the-Box grenade, which is the substitute for the monkey bombs. You can see them being made. On Darkest Shore and Spawn, there's dead whales, which is pretty gruesome. There's also an alternate super Easter egg throughout each map.
I mean, we've seen all the super Easter eggs now. I've reacted to all of them. I'm gonna be honest, I think World War II is the worst. And Exo Zombies is also pretty much neck and neck with World War II's super Easter egg. They're pretty mid.
With the Sword of Barbosa, like, I'm not sure how you do it on the other maps. I just know at the end of Final Reich, it resurrects Klaus and he jumps into the fire. But apparently it's a whole other side quest. That sounds actually...
They really could have done World War II so much better, though, to be honest, man. They could have done way more with it.
Very interesting. Really, they put a lot of work into it. Final Reich was going to have a zombie that was going to be a replacement for one of the sub-bosses called Troll Zombie, but it wasn't in the game.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
It ultimately scrapped. Also, Final Reich was going to be called Army of the Dead. Last fun, interesting fact about Call of Duty Zombies. Peter Stroud, the main bad guy of World War II Zombies, appears on Darkest Shore, Final Reich, and I think maybe the third map.
Well, it is cool because, like, in Shadowed Throne, you do take him out at the end of the map, but it's just, like, it was so anticlimactic, and then they didn't know what to do with the rest of the maps, like with Frozen Dawn and Tortured Path. One of the worst DLCs of all time, man. So
randomly, I think it's usually on round 6.
It just is what it is with those maps,
it's like an achievement. You can find them in one of the windows, shoot them, and you'll unlock achievement.
Yeah, it's just sad.
That was a lot of facts.
Noble swag W, bro.